Once upon a time, in the ancient land of Israel, lived a man unlike any other. His name was Samson. He wasn't just strong, he was chosen by God for a very special purpose. But this isn't just a story about muscles. It's a story about faith, choices, and where true strength really comes from. Before Samson was even born, his parents, Manoah and his wife, were unable to have children. It was a source of great sadness for them. Then one day, a breathtaking sight appeared before his mother, an angel of the Lord. The angel brought a message of hope. You will conceive and have a son, but he must be set apart for God from birth. He will be a Nazirite, so a razor must never touch his head. His long hair will be the sign of his vow and God's promise. And just as the angel had said, Samson was born. From his youth, he was filled with the Spirit of God. He was strong, fearless, and clearly destined for greatness. The Lord blessed him, and the Spirit began to stir in him. As Samson grew into a man, so did his incredible, God-given strength. When the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, he could do the impossible. One day, on his way to see a woman he admired, a young lion came roaring toward him. With nothing in his hands, the Spirit of God rushed upon him, and he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as if it were a young goat. Another time, after being betrayed and handed over to his enemies, the Philistines, he was bound with 2 new ropes. But as the Philistines shouted in triumph, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. The ropes on his arms became like charred flax, and they simply melted from his hands. He then found the fresh jawbone of a donkey, and with that single, unconventional weapon, he defeated 1,000 Philistine soldiers. The feats of Samson became legendary. Everyone knew his name. Everyone feared his power. But even the strongest people have a weak spot. For Samson, it wasn't a physical weakness. It was a weakness of the heart. Samson fell deeply in love with a woman from the valley of Sorek named Delilah. His love for her, however, would become his downfall. The Philistine rulers, desperate to neutralize their greatest threat, saw their opportunity. They went to Delilah and made her an offer she couldn't refuse. Coax him and find out the secret of his great strength and how we can overpower him. If you do this for us, each of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver. The bribe was immense, and Delilah agreed. She began her campaign of deception. Tell me, Samson, she would ask sweetly, what is the secret of your great strength? At first, Samson played along, treating it like a game. He told her, if you tie me up with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man. So, while he slept, Delilah tied him with the bowstrings, and then shouted, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. He snapped the bowstrings as easily as a thread snaps when it touches a flame. The secret of his strength was not revealed. She tried again, pouting, You've made a fool of me. You lied to me. Come now, tell me how you can be tied. He replied, If you tie me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man. So Delilah took new ropes, tied him up, and once again cried out, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he broke the ropes off his arms like they were mere threads. Delilah persisted, her nagging wearing him down day after day. How can you say, I love you, when you won't confide in me? She pressed. This is the 3rd time you have made a fool of me. Finally, his soul was vexed to the point of death. He couldn't bear it any longer. He gave in and told her everything. My hair has never been cut, he confessed, his voice soft with exhaustion. I have been a Nazirite to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as any other man. Delilah knew he had finally told her the truth. That night, she lulled Samson to sleep with his head on her lap. Then, she called in a man to cut off the 7 braids of his hair. His strength began to drain away. Then she shouted for the last time, Samson, the Philistines are here. He woke from his sleep and thought, I'll go out as I did before and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. The source of his power was gone. The Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and took him down to Gaza. Binding him with bronze shackles, they set him to grinding grain in the prison. The mighty Samson, the champion of Israel, the man who could defeat armies, was now blind, broken, and humiliated. But even in that dark, desolate prison, something began to change. As Samson toiled in chains, his hair began to grow back, and as his hair grew, so did his heart toward God. In his weakness and blindness, he began to see clearly for the first time. He began to pray. One day, the Philistine rulers gathered for a great festival to celebrate their victory and offer a sacrifice to their false god. Dagon, they declared, our God has delivered our enemy Samson into our hands. The celebration was massive. Thousands of people packed the temple and crowded onto the roof. In their revelry, they shouted, Bring out Samson to entertain us. So they brought Samson from the prison, and he was made to stand between 2 massive central pillars that supported the entire temple. He was mocked and ridiculed. Samson said to the servant who held his hand, Position me so I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against them. Then, with his heart turned fully back to God, Samson prayed a final desperate prayer. He whispered, Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please God, strengthen me just one more time, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. Then, Samson reached out his hands and placed one on each of the 2 central pillars. He braced himself and cried out, "Let me die with the Philistines." With every last ounce of the supernatural strength God returned to him in that moment. He pushed, the pillars cracked, the foundation gave way, and the entire temple came crashing down on the rulers and all the people in it. In this final selfless act, Samson defeated more of his enemies in his death than he ever had in his life. Samson's story teaches us something incredibly powerful. It's not about how strong we are on it, it's about who our strength comes from. When we depend on God, He can use us to do amazing, impossible things. But when we rely on ourselves, on our own talents or abilities, we can lose sight of our true purpose and stumble. Yet, the most beautiful part of this story is the redemption. Even after Samson failed, after he made terrible choices and lost everything, God never forgot him. When he turned back to God in his darkest hour, God was there. And the same is true for you. No matter what mistakes you've made, no matter how far you feel you've fallen, God can still use your life for good. His grace is bigger than our failures. As the Apostle Paul wrote, God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. So remember, your true, lasting strength isn't found in your muscles, your status, or your own might. It's found in your faith and reliance on Him. Stay strong in God, because He is the only real and lasting source of power. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, please give this video a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more Bible stories that bring hope and courage. We'll see you in the next video.